It is time now for Kara's Cures, and we've just heard too many stories lately of seemingly happy people choosing to end their lives.
But how can you tell us if someone is struggling?
Psychologist and behavior analyst and author Reena Patel is joining us now to talk more about this. Welcome, Reena.
Thank you for having me.
It's so awesome to be here with you. This is a subject that not a lot of us like to talk about. We kind of like to push it under the rug. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it happens in life. We just saw Miss USA, Chelsea Christ, she took her own life, and it was so upsetting.
I mean, she seemed to just have everything.
Yeah, and that's the biggest misconception, right? Our role models, people in high-level positions, seem untouchable, seem perfect, seem always put together. But those are the ones who are always giving. They're constantly giving. And what happens oftentimes is just there's something behind the scenes, and they're not giving to themselves. And dealing with struggles that oftentimes they feel shame that they can't even talk about because on the outside, they have a certain portrayal or certain expectations that they have to live up to.
Well, and talk about perfectionism, because this is also something you said, people who are role models have another level of sometimes internal suffering, that they're really striving for perfection.
I mean, you're right. Think about social media. Think about what we are putting out there. There's just no opportunity for mistakes. And that's what's so hard. And when we're talking about our younger generations who look up to role models, it's so important to show your whole self. Be open, be honest, talk about your daily challenges, because so many other people can relate. And that's what's so important.
Is suicide more prevalent than many of us even think? I don't really know the statistics, but I've heard it's...
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. It is so much so that you just know what our own Surgeon General is talking about, especially in adolescents, the high prevalence rate of suicide, especially because we are in the midst and kind of coming through a pandemic. So much more isolation, no opportunity to connect. The check-ins with individuals are so important. If you think, you're doing enough, just know that you're not. We need to constantly be checking in with our peers, our friends, colleagues, family members, and not just, how are you? Ask some questions. Dive a little bit deeper. What have you been doing that's fun? What are some new hobbies? I mean, sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves, right? We hear this term self-care, but it's so important.
Yeah. I mean, with Chelsea Christ, it was her mom who said they talked every day, but she goes, obviously, I guess not about this. So the other thing that it brings up is that you say not every suicide is planned and some are impulsive. I know we don't know so much in that case, but I think most of us think it's something that people have been planning.
That is so true. What we look at and the different types in terms of people ending their life, oftentimes it's very impulsive. And so when you think about it, it's just that spur of the moment thing. And then when you talk to individuals who luckily have come through, they regret their actions. They regret, what had happened. And so sadly, and possibly even in this situation, it's too late. And with Chelsea, she, per what her mom was saying, is she was suffering what's called high functioning depression. And so again, you mask things, you try to do these quick fixes, but it doesn't alleviate the internal struggles. And that's why it's so important to get help, to seek professionals to help you through it. There are many resources out there. And that's the thing that we have to reiterate and emphasize the importance of, that there is help. You do not have to deal with this alone.
And Reena, we only have about a minute, but there are things to remember. Emotions aren't permanent. Situations can change. You make life more meaningful. Mistakes do not define you. Things like that we should always remember.
Right. And the future can change. Things can be different. It is not set in stone. I think that's what is important. And the biggest thing of all is that, yes, you do matter. You were that important. So if you could take anything away from this, is just know that you matter. You are very much important.
Yeah, and I hope that whoever might need this really is hearing it. And we want to let people know that if you are listening, or maybe someone you love, you can always call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 800-273-TALK, 800-273-TALK. You can text the word strength to 741-741 or go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
You know, Reena, it was a great resource to have you on the show today, and we just can't thank you enough for the work you continue to do.
Thank you.
And we'll see you a little later. You can we'll deepen this conversation on the WFSB app for Kara's Cures.
All right, coming up. Don't know what you're making for Valentine? Don't worry, Chef Plum has something easy and festive to show us.
And a deserving family gets a life-changing gift. We'll take you there.
But first, let's get a check on today's news and weather from Studio A.